Hey everyone, Mr. Sujano here. Yet another questionable emulator has popped up on the Google Play Store. Let's get started. Alright, to kick things off, yesterday we talked about Daemon SX2 Pro, which seems to be a ripoff of Aether SX2, an early build of Aether SX2. It's on the Google Play Store and I don't recommend this one. It's about $4.50 in the States. And today we've got another one that has cropped up. This one is called PPSS22 Turbo. It's a PS2 emulator along with a bunch of other systems. It is free, but it does contain ads. Now, taking a look at the features for PPSS22, and it says system simulation, OpenGL, Vulkan, and software rendering, upscaling of games to 1080p and beyond, widescreen patches for games without native support, save states, touchscreen and Bluetooth controller support. Games can be loaded from ISO, CHD, and CSO disk images and per game settings. On the plus side for the description, it appears that everything is spelt correctly. On the downside, it sounds very similar to Aether SX2. If we take a look when it was last updated, it was last updated on July 28th. It requires Android 5.0 and up. That is very interesting, probably why 5,000 plus people have downloaded it. And it was released on May 10th of this year, so still pretty recent. Now, as I mentioned before, this emulator is free, but it does contain ads, and if you wanted to play PS2 games with it, you need to install PPSS22 ARM64 plugins, which also contain ads. It's almost as if the developer of this one is double dipping. And if we take a look at the logo here, that is oddly familiar. I mean, if I didn't know any better, I would say it's the exact same as PCSX2, just with a different color and also with a little lightning bolt. And oddly enough as well, the screenshots are extremely similar to Daemon SX2 Pro. If we take a look at the screenshots here, and just the controller layout as well as the little icon and the joystick, and compare it with PPSS22 Turbo, well, we've got a little icon in the joystick, and the rest of the buttons are nearly identical. However, it does appear that these have been developed by two different companies. So Daemon SX2 Pro is developed by MNTP Private Limited Restricted, and PPSS2 Turbo has been developed by Blue Olivers. And if we take a look at Blue Olivers' profile page here, the logo is BO. I kind of wish they used an S here, the S of Olivers instead of the O, just for BS. And they have two different apps, PPSS2 Turbo and PPSS22, the plugin. Now, unlike Daemon SX2 Pro, which I wasn't going to pay for to install to check out, I did install PPSS22 Turbo, and I was severely disappointed. The very first welcome screen says this emulator also supports PS1, 3DS, DS, PS2, PSP, NES, SNES, MAME, SNES again, G-Boy, Wii Arcade, and many more. And then you click the OK button. When I booted up a PS2 game, I got the familiar text right at the top of the screen, which is the exact same text that Aether SX2 has. It does look like they tried to garble it and possibly change the language on this so that it's harder to read and harder to understand. And once I was in game, I paused the emulator to bring up the main menu, and this is what popped up. An exact copy of an earlier version of Aether SX2's main menu. And I'm talking exact copy, except for the name change here to PPSS22. On top of all of that, what I forgot to mention is that I had to sit through a 30-second ad even to boot up the game in the first place, which is absolutely insane. In my opinion, PPSS22 Turbo has stolen code from Aether SX2 very similar to Daemon SX2 Pro. And I have a feeling this will not be the last PS2 emulator surfacing on the Google Play Store to do the exact same thing. On Android at this point in time, I only recommend two PS2 emulators, Aether SX2 if you have a PS2 BIOS, and Play if you don't. Aether SX2 is further ahead in terms of compatibility, in terms of functionality, and Play is an up-and-comer. Now, if Aether SX2 doesn't work on your device, and Play doesn't work on your device might be underpowered for PS2 emulation. And if you go to check out another PS2 emulator on the Google Play Store, chances are you'll be let down as well. It feels like we're kind of playing whack-a-mole here to figure out what emulators are real and what are fake. And unfortunately, PPSS22 falls under the Maybe not fake because it's using an earlier version of Aether SX2, but possibly illegitimate and something that I highly wouldn't recommend at all. I'd recommend staying away from. Anyways, that is all I've got for you in this one. Straight to the point, all stuff and no fluff. Let me know your thoughts about PPSS22 Pro, or is it Pro? PPSS22 Turbo in the comments below, or I guess Damon SX2 Pro in the comments below. If you like this video, leave a like. If you didn't like this video, leave a like. Hit that subscribe button, check out my other videos. Don't tempt fate, save your state.